this unit, you define different vocabulary terms and so the importance of teaching vocabulary, because it's more than just presenting words. As a teacher, you will decide what and how much vocabulary to teach. Remember, vocabulary should be a part of your lesson planning. Vocabulary is categorized as the following: synonyms, polysemy, parts of speech, cognates, false cognates, antonyms, connotation, hyphonyms, and homonyms. When teaching vocabulary, select the technique that is best for your students' level of English, learning style, and the intention for teaching it. As you study strategies to present new vocabulary, they range from realia, demonstrating, and giving examples. There is no right or wrong technique. You simply experience what works best for you. For example, when teaching vocabulary about technology, you can bring objects to class, draw on the board, use newspapers, cutouts, or handouts. Now, next we will see some examples of different strategies for teaching vocabulary. Realia and visuals. Realia are objects that can be brought to class, can be, for example, bringing CDs, cassettes, a phone, etc. When teaching vocabulary on technology, if you cannot bring these objects into the classroom, the alternative will be to draw the images on the blackboard, cut out images from magazine like this example here, play a video on the topic, or pass around flashcards featuring the images. If the school has a computer for each student, have them research each of the different items. Matching. Matching words or the images of the meaning of the words is a great technique for antonyms and synonyms. On a handout, you can arrange these in two different columns so that the students match the words from left to right. Or one column can have the answer, label, the alphabet. Example of antonym is this. Here we have, for example, cry, laugh, be quiet, talk, wake up, sleep, fall, rise. Present words in context. This activity is perfect as a preparation for a specific group of vocabulary. The ways you can make your student guess the meaning of the word through context are: number one, playing a video to present a context, asking students to guess the meaning of a list of words. 2. Provide a handout with different sentences which have synonyms of words you aim to teach. Here's an example. 3. Play a tape of a short conversation so that students have a better idea of the word by listening to two people talk about a subject. An example would be a question and answer dialogue. Demonstration. To demonstrate a word, you must act to provide the meaning. Yes, you need to act, which also means that your students can act to present a word to the whole class too. This activity would be fun and interactive way of learning new words. Perhaps presenting a whole story will not be necessary. But presenting driving, you can pretend to be driving while you say the word drive. Give or ask for examples. If you want your students to think about the meaning of a word, give them examples of a word that represents the same group of vocabulary. For example, to present the word fruit, you can draw an apple. For example, apple. To present calling, you can show a picture of a phone. This technique is useful for those words that cannot be visually presented, such as air, pollution, light, etc. Translation. To literally write down the meaning of a word from the mother tongue into English, or the opposite, can have many disadvantages for the student, as the skills learned are really limited. However, if you must use this technique, try to make it as fun as possible. For instance, instead of having your students write down the meaning, have the students draw, cut out, or act the answer. Word maps. Making a word map of words will be useful when teaching hyphonyms and homonyms. Again, instead of just writing words, you can have the students have drawings or cutouts from magazines to identify the group of words to create the word map. The images would be inside the bubble. There is possible to have on a handout or in a group of activity on the blackboard. For example, here's an example of the word for the word pretty. We have pretty, appealing, cute, attractive, handsome, and beautiful. Cloze tests. This activity makes your students research or guess the word that is missing, creating a fill-in-the-gap lesson. Ideally, you should have this activity for intermediate or advanced students. For beginner students, a simple sentence with one part of a speech missing will be enough. Cloze tests can be used for identifying the different parts of the speech, and hyphonyms you may or may not provide the list of the answer key. Here's an example. We have some sentences where the students will need to fill in the gap with the correct tense. Ask students to help each other. As a group activity, you can have students help each other to find the meaning of a list of words or find the missing words in a cloze test. You can either give a different worksheet to each student or give the same worksheet to all groups and reward the one that finishes first. Competitive students shall get a kick out of this. Cross out the words that do not belong. Just as it says, students shall eliminate the words that do not fit into the list. You can use this activity for teaching any group of vocabulary, but your challenge is to not make it simple enough so that students can finish it off in a minute. For advanced students, you can add a space for them to explain why they think a word does not belong, or you can have them cross out the words from a paragraph. Here's an example for the groups fruits and buildings. Fruits, we have banana, apple, broccoli, and orange. Of course, broccoli does not belong. Buildings, church, library, school, and bicycle. Bicycle does not belong. These were just a few examples on the various techniques. Now, you try to come up with your own. Remember that each time you present a new word, it needs to be accompanied by the correct pronunciation and stress. Make sure you are sure understanding and that you provide input.